The finger reader sits hunched, her spine bowed beneath the weight of age and time, swathed in robes so ancient they seem more dust than cloth, tattered layers mottled with ash and the faint scent of incense long burned away. Her hands, pale and skeletal, curl like gnarled roots around a club of polished wood, etched with grooves worn smooth by centuries of grasping. Enya is unlike any other of the finger readers who wander the lands between, where those crones speak in riddles from shattered bridges and atop high cliffs. Enya alone abides within the Roundtable Hold, the very heart of Grace's sanctuary, where the Tarnished gather in silence. Here she sits at the foot of the two fingers, grotesque and pale, their knotted digits rising like twisted branches toward the unseen greater will beyond the stars. She is neither a god nor mortal, but an envoy, a conduit through which the decrees of the divine are spoken. Through Enya, their convulsions become words. Their silence becomes command, blessings, omens, and condemnations pass from her cracked lips to those deemed worthy, the Tarnished who would dare defeat the demigods to claim their great runes, and, in doing so, mend the shattered ring and claim the mantle of Elden Lord. Well, I see. A remembrance of gold has found its way into your possession. Demigods, and even the greater of champions, are hewn by the Erdtree upon their end into remembrances. They are valuable indeed. These remembrances yet house the power of their former masters, and should you wish to wield that same power, well, I will lend you the strength of the fingers. Do not recoil from my offer. The fingers guide us all, and you, Tarnished, you are here to take, are you not? As she finishes speaking, her hooded head turns to you with a creak of bone and sinew, and though her eyes are long since gone, you feel her hollow sockets fix upon you. She reaches out a dry, withered hand, palm open, waiting. Her skin is stretched thin over brittle bone, cracked and pale as parchment, nails yellowed with centuries. You draw out the golden shard, Godric's shard, the only piece of him left after his dying breath. Its light pulses faintly, a sickly gold threaded with veins of red, as though steeped still in the Graft Lord's ambition. Her thin lips curl upward in satisfaction. Good, very good indeed. The air trembles with a low hum as the two fingers convulse faintly upon their dies, pale and knotted, twitching like roots stirring in unseen wind. Their silent command courses through Enya's frail form. In a blinding flash of golden light, the shard transforms into the shape of a dragon's head, its scales blackened with ancient fire, jaws locked in a silent roar. It clings to your arm like a phantom, a graft of will, waiting patiently for you to summon its wrath. You feel the strength of the dragon's fire breath surge through you, heat flooding your veins, coiling in your chest like a sleeping storm, and filling your limbs with an almost unnatural power. Enya continues to speak, voice low and rasping, yet sharp as a blade in the hush of the hall. Ah, great runes are the stuff of demigods, the children of the goddess Queen Marika, she who is the vessel of the Elden Ring, bearer of its vision, a god in truth. But after the ring's shattering, she was imprisoned in the Erdtree, a grim punishment for shattering the order despite her godhood. The fingers twitch again. Enya bows her head slightly, listening. The fingers speak. Marika's trespass demanded a heavy sentence, but even in shackles she remains a god and the vision's vessel. Confer great runes to become Elden Lord, and join Queen Marika as consort. The fingers have willed it so. Now you may go. Enya falls silent. You step back from the dais, the pale fingers looming silent beside her hunched form. Their presence lingers even as you turn away, a pressure at the base of your skull, faint and unshakable, like an echo that will not fade. The long hall opens into the Roundtable Hold proper. It is a place removed from the waking world, an echo of a keep that was once a bustling hub for Queen Marika's champions of the Golden Order. Suspended in a fold of time and space between the lands between, accessed only by grace, no wind stirs and no rain falls beyond the stone walls, and through the windows, nothing but darkness can be seen. A great round table dominates the chamber, scarred by centuries of use, its surface pierced by a myriad of weapons, some rusted and ancient, others gleaming as though newly abandoned. A few hang unnaturally in the air, caught in the stasis that grips this place. This is the table of lost grace, where the brightest flame of grace you have seen yet burns in the center, casting its golden glow along the stone walls, turning edges of steel to firelight and reflecting in motes of dust that drift lazily in the still air. In the Roundtable Hold, the Tarnished have been drawn here across ages, summoned by grace and unbound by death, each seeking to mend the Elden Ring and, most failing, or having lost the guidance of grace, on a different journey altogether. Candles burn low along the walls, their flames steady in the still, almost suffocating air of the chamber. Against one wall, a fire burns in a large hearth, at the foot of which stands a woman in a decorated crimson hood, her head bowed, her expression solemn and withdrawn, lost in thought or memory or penance. Archways branch into dim corridors. The rhythmic clanging of a hammer on anvil echoes faintly from the blacksmith's forge in a nearby hall. Beyond, low mutterings sound from a cloistered library. Further still, narrow halls lead to private chambers where exiles rest between journeys, tending wounds of both body and soul. You cross the threshold from the Fingers Hall, the weight of Godric's great rune still burning faintly against your arm. The golden light pulses in rhythm with your heartbeat, ready to draw fire at your beckoning, a silent reminder of the power you now bear. In the hall, just outside the library, you find a familiar face. She stands there, tall and battle-worn, shoulders square with the discipline of a warrior, her axe now resting at her side. You again. I thought you'd receive a summons to the round table. She offers a small nod, firm and respectful. Nefelilu, we met at Stormvale. I'm glad to see you here. I have something for you. You defeated him. You should have it. Make good use of it. I don't intend to make a habit of scavenging corpses. She passes to you a small round charm, wrought of iron, weathered and heavy in the palm, etched with the image of a great sword amongst a mass of weapons. You take it and slide it into your satchel, and as you do, something subtly shifts in you. Your limbs feel looser. The ache in your back lifts slightly, as though some unseen yoke has eased from your shoulders. Ah yes, I wonder if you've met my foster father. He's in the study, the room Ensha's guarding over there. If you haven't already, I advise you introduce yourself. Father is the leader of the round table. I'm sure talking to him will be worth your while. Nefeli straightens her shoulders and bends down to grasp her axe. It's about time I headed off. I'll see you again, warrior, should the fates deign it. You turn toward the heavy doors she indicated. There, by the entrance, Ensha leans, a shadow-given form, silent and unblinking against the wall. He is clad in blackened armor, so close-fitting it might have been poured onto him, the plates inlaid with what appear to be gold-lacquered bones, ribs, knuckles, jaw. Human, you think, and not by accident. His helm is shaped like a skull, not a mask but a visage wrought with ritual care, every ridge etched with gold filigree. The eyes of the mask are dark, hollow, and fixed upon you. His gloved hand rests beneath his chin in a pose of still contemplation, but the way he watches you sets your teeth on edge. The air near him feels colder, as though he carries a silence that repels warmth itself. A shiver traces down your spine. You do not speak. He does not move, save for swiveling his head as his eyes follow you. But something in your bones tells you that he is someone to never turn your back on. You step into the study. The air is still, heavy with dust and the scent of old parchment. Books and scrolls lie scattered across every surface, stacked in crooked towers or shoved into shelves with little order. Some are sealed with ancient runes, others faded and yellowed with age. The organized chaos of a man who has traded blood for wisdom, for now. At the center of the room sits a lone figure at a broad, low desk. He does not look up as you enter. His hands are splayed across a pile of documents, his fingers stained with ink. A long mantle drapes from his shoulders, stitched and patched with cloths of varying texture, as if collected from different banners, different battles. His head is bowed beneath an iron crown, and his face, hidden behind a mask shaped like a long-beaked bird, almost funereal in its sharpness. At last he speaks, a gravelled voice, firm and deliberate, as if spoken through a lifetime of study. You've received the wisdom of the two fingers, have you not? His head lifts slightly beneath the crown. Then I bid you welcome, as a true member of the Round Table. He pauses, folding his hands before him. I am known as Gideon Ofnir, as a Tarnished who wishes to stand before the Elden Ring and become Elden Lord. I am accumulating knowledge to be all-knowing. The phrase lingers in the room like a challenge. He lets it settle before continuing, leaning back slightly and assessing you now with a weighty stillness. You now belong to a select group of fellows. As such, I ask you remain constant. You speak then of Stormvale Castle, of the twisted corridors and ruined halls, of the warhawks and grafted beasts, of the darkness and thunder and flame, of Godric and his fall. Gideon inclines his head. There is no surprise in his posture, but neither is there scorn. So, Godric the Grafted, Lord of Stormvale. His voice sharpens, threaded with disdain. Despite being the blood of Godfrey, first Elden Lord, he was a grotesque old fool, grasping for power. He steebles his fingers, resting his elbows on the desk as the light of the candle beside him catches the gleam of a rune-carved ring on his knuckle. You'll be after more great runes now, eh? Then, as your fellow, allow me to divulge a little knowledge. He leans forward. The inheritors of the great runes, the Shard-bearers. We of the Round Table know the location of 5 of them, including the one you've already defeated. One gloved finger taps the table with each name spoken. Godric the Grafted, Lord of Stormvale. General Radahn, who fought Melina and her rot to a standstill in the Caelid Wilds. Praetor Rykard, Lord of the Volcano Manor of Mount Gelmir. Morgott the Grace-given, Veiled Monarch and Lord of Leyndell. And Rennala, Queen of the Full Moon, ruler of Raya Lucaria's Academy. He rests, leaning back again. You'll still be after more great runes, won't you? Gideon repeats the question, and this time an odd eagerness is barely hidden in his voice. He waits for your response as though ready to record your answer, not just for knowledge, but for strategy. You feel a flicker of unease in your gut. There is something watchful behind that iron mask. The question is rhetorical. He already knows the answer. He gestures loosely toward the east. Morgott the Grace-given rules Leyndell, the capital. It lies at the foot of the Erd-tree, in the east of Altus Plateau, but the two fingers forbid us from venturing there until we've acquired enough great runes to repair the Elden Ring. So, he leans closer, voice low and deliberate. Set your sights elsewhere for the time being. The Veiled Monarch can wait. He taps the table once more, this time toward the north. The Academy of Raya Lucaria lies beyond Limgrave, high above the mist-laden lands of Liurnia. Rennala is the queen of the Carrion royals who govern the Academy. He pauses, his tone shifting, but Rennala herself is no demigod. He speaks the next name carefully, each word brittle as though prized from an old wound. Her beloved Radagon left her. He became Queen Marika's second husband, taking the title of King Consort. The great rune, however, still dwells within her, within the amber egg Radagon gave her. A silence settles between you. Books whisper against one another as the candles flicker low. Ensha stands unmoving beyond the door. Gideon says nothing more. You bow your head and turn, the great rune of the grafted heavy in your satchel, your next path now set. North to Liurnia, to Raya Lucaria, where Rennala, queen of the full moon, yet lingers, and where another shard of the Elden Ring awaits. And as you leave, you can't help but feel the eyes of the all-knowing lingering on your back. Days have passed. You track backwards, wandering through Limgrave and the Weeping Peninsula, exploring every cave, every catacomb, and every cliff and valley. Now wielding Godric's grafted dragon at your arm, you seek treasures and defeat any foe unfortunate enough to cross your path. Rune bears roar from the undergrowth, their fur matted with burrs and blood. Trolls thunder down their iron clubs, shaking the earth as you dodge beneath their shadows. Countless of Godric's broken soldiers come at you with rusted halberds and crooked blades, falling one after another beneath your steel. The tree sentinel that once chased you upon your first steps into the lands between is felled at last, sparks of fire bursting from the dragon's maw at your command, engulfing golden armor in a wash of flame until the giant knight staggers, collapses, and lies still. Throughout the days of your journey, you light sights of grace, following their path. You call upon her, Melina, your ally, and with her warm hand upon yours, the runes you have gathered throughout the green and gold forests of Limgrave and the Weeping Peninsula are turned into strength that flows through you. And now, stronger than ever, you are ready to move forward and follow the light of grace ever north, gladdened that its blessing still flares for you. The air changes the moment you leave Stormvale's shadow, and Melina's words ring in your mind. They are cryptic, channeling the words of Queen Marika of a time before the Shattering, an enigmatic hint of her motivations, and perhaps a hint to the reason why her demigod children linger in the lands between, each possessing their own shards of the shattered ring, and why they once warred each other for more. My lord and thy warriors, I divest thee of thy grace. With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the lands between. Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die. Then after thy death, I will give back what I once claimed. Return to the lands between, wage war, and brandish the Elden Ring. Grow strong in the face of death. Warriors of my lord, Lord Godfrey. The salt tang of the sea that cradles Limgrave is replaced by the damp, heavy scent of lake mist and wet stone that fills your lungs and coats your nostrils. Ahead, the world opens wide. From your vantage point atop the cliff, with the crumbling walls of the castle filled with warhawks and patrolling knights behind you, the land falls away in a sweeping basin shrouded in a grey-blue haze. Below lies Liurnia of the Lakes, a land half drowned and wholly forgotten. The great floodplain stretches to the horizon, where the waters glint faintly beneath the gloom. Ancient ruins jut from the shadows like the ribs of a sunken beast, their steeples leaning at broken angles. Faint silhouettes of once proud spires rise above the mist. Churches, towers, and keeps, all relics of a more harmonious age, when Raya Lucaria's wisdom held sway over the land. In the distance, upon its high promontory, the Academy of Raya Lucaria looms, a fortress of stone and sorcery. Its tallest tower pierces the clouded sky, lit faintly by an unseen moon. Bridges arc over the chasms like the bones of titans, leading to gates sealed by magic older than most kingdoms. The place is as much myth as it is fortress, a place of study for glintstone sorcerers. Between you and that seat of power lie miles of open water, scattered islets and the flooded hamlets where only the desperate or the damned still dwell. It is said the lake's depths hide more than sunken homes, that the drowned dead stir beneath the silt, and the magic of the Academy bleeds into the very currents, warping what lives there. Just as in Limgrave and the Weeping Peninsula, you traverse the flooded lands, felling new enemies, seeking new treasures. In the night, a formidable deathbird descends, shrieking, its wings blotting the stars. You dodge its pecks and swoops as it attempts to grab you, its talons gouging trenches in the earth as you roll aside. Its skull face snaps at your throat, but your sacred blade flares bright and sears its shadowed flesh until the monster collapses in smouldering ruin. A knight's cavalry falls to your blade as you face against it, riding atop Torrent, who you have come to rely on as if he were a part of you. Behind a glintstone dragon, you find more treasures and an old key that you know will be useful. The ivy-woven stone path through Academy Gate town is blocked and guarded by Raya Lucaria soldiers and foot soldiers who come at you in numbers, and you strike them down one by one, yet not without cost. A spear point pierces your mail and burns a hot line across your ribs, while a sword cuts your forearm deep enough that warm blood slicks your grip, the hilt sliding in your palm as you fight on. But it is no matter, but a flesh wound. The pain sharpens your focus rather than dulling it, driving you forward. The path quiets, strewn with the bodies of the Academy's defenders, their pale robes soaking in the drizzle that rolls down from the misted cliffs above. You push deeper into the hollow silence of Gate Town, its broken dwellings jutting like teeth from the water. Statues of scholars lean at odd angles, their stone faces half submerged. It is not long before the path to the main gate is silent again, and you soon find yourself standing before the South Raya Lucaria gate, its surface shimmering with a telltale blue seal of glintstone. From your satchel, you produce the key, its shard of raw glintstone shimmering faintly. The moment it nears the seal, the gate collapses in rippling waves of blue, leaving only a chill in the air and the whisper of dissipating wards. Beyond lies a great lift. You pull the lever, and with a groan of chains, the platform ascends, bearing you into the Academy's entrance. Mist swirls through broken arches as the massive structure rises above, stone towers vanishing into grey fog, their spires like broken quills scratching the clouds. When it stops, the Academy looms before you, half veiled, half revealed by the same fog that clings to Liurnia like a burial shroud. A stairway rises in solemn procession toward towers that vanish into the shifting haze, spires flickering in and out of sight like ghosts. At times you glimpse their detail, pinnacles traced with runes. The air itself hums with sorcery. Wisps of pale light drift through the fog like wayward stars, and veins of glintstone glow faintly in the stonework of the massive gate. It is less an ascent to a school than a pilgrimage to a tomb, where dead knowledge lingers, waiting for intruders. Step by step, you begin the climb. The damp stone of the staircase gleams beneath the veil of fog, slick beneath your boots. The silence holds only until you reach the first landing. Then, with a hiss of air, sorcery crackles to life. Two figures emerge from the mist ahead, students of the Academy, their blue robes frayed with ages, their faces hidden beneath glintstone crowns shaped into an expressionless face with long hair that curls down with a beard that falls in ringlets. One raises his staff, glintstone shards already forming at its tips. The other begins the incantation of a more potent spell. Blue light blooms in the fog, arcs of sorcery illuminating the staircase in fleeting bursts. You rush forward. The first volley of magic shrieks past your head and explodes against the stair's edge, scattering fragments of stone. The second caster looses a hail of glintstone shards, their jagged edges searing through the mist like falling stars. Shield braced, you weather the storm, the impact shuddering through your arm, sparks flying. You quickly learn the timing of the spell as you close the gap, dodging each streak of blue glintstone light. Steel cuts through robe and bone, and the first scholar falls with a cry swallowed by the fog. The second staggers backward, and your blade strikes true. The spell falters, and he collapses, his staff clattering down the stairs before the mist consumes it. The fog settles once more. Silence returns, but the air is different now. Charged, watchful, as though the Academy has seen you and will not forget. And above, the stairway continues, winding upward toward the gates of Raya Lucaria and into the heart of its secrets. You step inside a vaulted room thick with hush and half-light. Stained glass windows flank tall pews, depicting twin cuckoos watching over arcane symbols. The air smells of old incense and long-forgotten prayers. Mechanical, marionette-like soldiers swing from the ceiling, landing on the floor and rushing to you in a frenzy of blades, but they collapse into broken strings of motion as you cut them down. Beyond the Church of Cuckoo, you follow the path into the open air and across a low bridge leading into a graveyard where stagnant waters drag mist across sunken headstones. Skeletal scholars claw the surface, reaching with cold fingers that drain fog and energy alike. You dodge and strike, running swiftly to leave them behind before they rise again, and find yourself at a water wheel mechanism, a rotating lift that will lead you upwards and further into the Academy. Even more sorcerers await you as you enter through the hall beyond the lift and work your way through the silent corridors. Some wear pale robes, sporting a sword and shield. Others fling their blue, crackling incantations at you with their staff. At the end of one corridor, you find yourself at the entrance of a cavernous chamber that opens up before you, its stone floor polished smooth by centuries of steps. High above, the vaulted ceiling glimmers with faint azure light, threads of magic weaving through the air like falling starlight. The benches and lecterns lie overturned, as though the last scholars here fled in panic. In their place, paw prints mar the dust. The silence does not last. The sound of growling fills the hall, and all of a sudden a creature lunges upon you, its fur red as ember, eyes glowing, sharp teeth bared and snapping. It wastes no time. With a bone-shaking snarl, the wolf leaps across the hall, its claws striking stone with sparks. You raise your shield just as its first strike lands. The force rattles your arm to the shoulder. The beast is relentless, bounding and circling with an unnatural stillness. The red wolf of Radagon, the very hound that guarded Rennala's consort, prowls, its maws dripping in sorcery and glintstone flame. A flash of red. The wolf conjures a sorcerous blade of pure flame, which it holds in its jaws as it comes at you with an almighty swing. The blade screams past, shattering stone where it lands. Then another and another. Blue glintstone daggers appear, their spectral forms flying in the stillness of the hall toward you and splintering underfoot. Steel clashes with claw, sparks scatter across the ruined chamber. You dodge beneath its fangs, rolling as its tail lashes out like a whip. For every strike you land, the wolf answers with fury, a lunge that nearly takes your throat, a burst of flame that sears the flagstones black. At last, its form begins to falter. The light in its eyes flickers. One final strike, blade to heart, and the great beast howls, its voice echoing in every shattered corner of the debate hall. The sound fades, and then it is gone, collapsing into pale motes that scatter like dying starlight. Silence returns. The wolf's blood lingers on your blade, shimmering faintly before fading into nothing. Only the faint hum of glintstone remains, as though the Academy itself mourns a fallen guardian. Despite the strength you have gathered over the last several days, the battle with the Red Wolf of Radagon leaves you trembling as the adrenaline fades from your body. Beneath your armor, your skin is hot and slick with sweat, your bones ache and your muscles are tender. Cuts and bruises adorn your arms as another light of grace unfurls before you and you touch upon its healing light, but you do not take long to rest before you move on. Past the debate parlor, a stone archway leads into a crumbling courtyard open to the grey skies. The air is damp, heavy with the scent of moss and old rain. Fractured statues of scholars line the walls, their faces eaten away by time, their hands clutching broken staves. Pools of stagnant water reflect the shattered grandeur. At the edge of the courtyard, you spy the grand stone staircase that rises into the mist, which will lead you to the heart of the Academy, the Grand Library. Pillars jut out horizontally from the courtyard, where you calculate how you can make the jump. You press forward, your feet striking the damp stone and moss, and in the distance behind you, you hear the clanging of abductor virgins, clamorous fiends wielding giant chained blades who, if spotted, will fling them at you without hesitation. You leap from the pillar, barely making it over the carved stone railing when, from above, a thunderous roar shakes the air, followed by the grinding of stone. A giant iron ball, black and smooth as polished marble, tears free from its perch and careens down the staircase. It smashes walls and banisters, scattering debris as it barrels straight toward you. You dive aside just as it crashes past, its weight shaking the tower to its very foundation. But there is no respite. Another sphere drops and churns down the stairwell like a rolling avalanche, leaving behind gouges where the stone steps used to be. You time your movements between their deadly rhythm, dashing upward in desperate bursts, the wind of their passing grazing your cloak. At last, breath ragged and muscles burning, you burst onto the landing. The thunder of the spheres rolls away into the silence below, their echoes fading like the dying beat of a war drum. Dust clings to your cloak as you press onward, Slipping through a narrow corridor where the air tastes of parchment and mildew, books lie strewn across the floor, their pages brittle and curling, scrawled with half-legible diagrams of stars and runes long since forgotten. The passage spills into an open courtyard drowned in foglight, where ruined colonnades rise like broken ribs. There, waiting amid the rubble, a carrion knight steps forth. His armour is plain but sturdy, battered by years of service, its steel dulled rather than polished. A broad shield is strapped to his arm, and in his other hand he wields a longsword, its edge nicked from countless battles. Steel clashes with steel. His strikes fall like hammer blows, measured and merciless, each ringing through the courtyard with the voice of a bell. Sparks scatter as your weapons meet, the rhythm of the fight punctuated by the crash of shield against blade. He presses hard, unrelenting, his stance the mark of training honed over decades. But you find the opening, a heartbeat in which his guard falters. Driving forward, your weapon pierces past the rim of his shield, and with a swift, merciless cut, you send the knight sprawling into the dust. His armour shudders once more, then lies still, leaving silence to claim the courtyard. You press on. At the far end rises another lift, iron chains groaning as you pull the lever. Slowly, inexorably, it bears you upward through the heart of the Academy, past walls lined with weathered stone and drifting glints of dust. When at last the mechanism shudders to a halt, you stand before a flooded sanctum open to the air, and you have finally arrived. The towering doors of the Grand Library, shrouded in a golden fog. You step forward. The grand carved wooden doors of the library open. A dim hallway stretches out before you, lit by sputtering candles, their wax weeping into ornate carpets stained dark with age. Dust motes drift in the air like lost stars, stirred by the draught of your entry. Towering heaps of tomes lean precariously, their bindings cracked and their spines warped, forming small mountains of forgotten knowledge. You sense the cavernous chamber of the Grand Library before you, but before you can step further, you feel a tug at your leg, and you look down. A chill runs down your spine as you see a childlike figure at your feet, grasping a candelabra which lights its face. It drags itself forward by its arms, legs limp, mouth stretching into a grotesque parody of a smile. A high-pitched giggle gurgles from its throat, hollow and uncanny. With horror, you pull away, only to see another figure crawl into view from the shadows, its pale fingers scraping across the floor. That same laughter echoes through the chamber, a chorus of mockery that gnaws at your composure. The Grand Library comes into view proper as you shrug the two children aside and press further onward. A vaulted dome looms overhead, its curve veiled in shadows, chandeliers suspended by chains swaying gently as if disturbed by some unseen tide. Their flames burn with a pale of ghostly light that offers no warmth. Rows upon rows of towering bookshelves rise with the arc of the dome, the words of 1,000 forgotten sorcerers whispering from worn pages. The childlike laughter multiplies, bouncing from wall to wall. You see now that the floor is littered with these robed figures, all clad in the same deep blue robes, crawling on elbows and dragging limp legs. Their voices build into a single grotesque harmony, then stop. As one, they crane their heads upward, their eyes fixed upon the darkness above. From the shadows descends Rennala. She floats downward as if borne on unseen currents, her cone-shaped hat sharp against the shimmer of her pale skin. She clutches a great amber egg, pressing it to her breast with tender reverence. Her lips part, painted dark with dried crimson, and her voice unfurls, thin and sweet, winding through the air like a spell. Hush, little Culver. I'll soon birth thee anew, a sweeting fresh and pure. Her lips graze the amber egg, her eyes flickering toward you with a strange, knowing smile. The chamber trembles. Candles flare brighter, books lift from their piles, their pages fluttering like wings. A golden cocoon of light rises around her in an instant, sealing her from harm. The laughter resumes now, a haunting chorus that carries with it an incantation. Sleep tight, bound tight by mother's amber. Sleep tight, find life in mother's umbra. The air itself seems to warp with the weight of their song. Chandeliers strain on their chains before snapping free, crashing to the floor in bursts of fire and steel. Books whirl through the air like razors, hurled at you by unseen force. You understand. Her shield cannot be broken while their lullaby endures. You surge forward, sword in hand. The first child crawls toward you, its lips trembling with the melody, a blue glimmering staff raised skyward. A sphere of golden light pulses about it, warping the air. You strike it down, its fragile body collapsing in a hiss of sparks, the spell unraveling. Another joins it, and another. You cut them down one by one, your blade flashing, but the chamber is relentless. New figures tumble from the shelves above, their song rising anew. At last, as the third vessel falls, Rennala's cocoon cracks like glass. With a cry, she plummets to the dais below, striking the stone with a sickening thud. The amber egg rolls from her arms, glimmering where it lands. She drags herself across the ground, her long fingers scraping toward the egg. Her words spill out in feverish whispers. Ah, my beloved, have no fear. I will hold thee. Ye will be countless born, forever and ever. The egg begins to seethe with shadow, exhaling a dark mist that curls upward in spirals, climbing the dome like a serpent. A voice calls from it, a new voice, cold and commanding. Upon my name is Ranni the Witch. The mist gathers, surging downward into a spectral figure, Rennala herself, reborn. She rises to her full height, shoulders square, staff raised, her presence transformed into the majesty of the Queen of the Full Moon. The library vanishes. The dome gives way to a star-strewn firmament, endless and eternal, the moon swollen to an impossible size. You stand on a plain of midnight blue water, its surface a mirror of the cosmos above. Queen Rennala stands tall at the heart of it. Foul trespasser, the voice intones. Send word far and wide of the last queen of Caria, Rennala of the full moon, and the majesty of the night she conjureth. Queen Rennala raises her staff, sigil glowing with blue glintstone magic, softly at first, then swelling with magnificent light as it gathers there until it fills the heavens. She hurls it downward and toward you with ease, and the world trembles as the blue beam crashes into you. You roll all too late. The impact hits you in full force and knocks you to the ground, sapping you of almost all energy, the blue beam exploding into a spray of crystalline shards. Already she is casting again, summoning shards of glintstone magic that darts across the void as you struggle to your feet, hands fumbling in your satchel for a potion. She floats upward and backward, loosing volleys of blue sorcery that streak toward you without cease. Each time you close in, she falls backward, across the seemingly endless plain. Closer and closer you run, rolling through another spell until at last you strike her 1, 2, 3 times and she floats backward again, her staff arcing through the air as yet another spell is cast. You repeat this again and again. Then they come. From seemingly nowhere emerge phantoms, wolves, trolls, even a dragon of pale light, each one called forth by her lunar sorcery. They charge, spectral jaws gnashing, fists hurling, and you are forced to carve through them as Queen Rennala rains destruction from above. Still, you endure. The sky darkens further as she raises her staff high, readying another spell. You close the gap, your blade striking through the mirrored void. Each strike tears at her fragile body, her spell faltering for a heartbeat before she surges back with another barrage of stars and fire. At last, your blow shatters her concentration. The full moon flickers and fades, her body crumpling as the mirrored sky collapses. O little Rani, my dear daughter, weave thy night into being. Darkness falls. The spectral plane dissolves like mist at dawn, and the endless firmament collapses inward. The echo of Rennala's full moon fades, leaving only silence broken by the soft hiss of extinguished sorcery. You stagger, breath heavy, and find yourself once more within the grand library. You wonder what magic could conjure the Queen's prime to wrench her soul into that night-bound dream and pit her full might against you. Yet, here in the dim quiet of the chamber, she is but a husk of that vision. Rennala sits slumped upon the floor at the library's heart. Her conical hat droops, shadowing hollowed eyes. Her back is bent with weariness, her fingers clutching the amber egg as though it were a babe. The glow is gone from it, its light spent, leaving only a dull, cracked sheen. She is alone now. The host of pale sweetings that once filled the hall have vanished, their lullabies dissolved into drifting motes of spectral dust. Pages of half-burned tomes flutter in the stagnant air, settling around her like dead leaves. The chandeliers sway on their chains, creaking mournfully in the hush. Her voice cuts through the silence, trembling yet tender, as though she does not see you at all. Where did you flee, my sweetings? Come out from whence ye hide. There are books and light aplenty. Dither not, come out, say I. Or will ye be gravestones, to be better born anew? Her words unravel in the vastness of the library, equal parts lullaby and lament, the broken song of a queen bound in her own shattered dream. This is not the face of victory. A queen robbed of her love, her family, her mind, bound to the husk of an egg that will never again give life. You feel the weight of what it means to claim a great rune. The shattering of another. A shadow of pity falls over your resolve, though you cannot turn from the path you have chosen. The Erdtree demands your steps, and her brokenness is the toll. Your eyes drift across the chamber to where the amber egg had rolled in the frenzy of battle. Amid the dust and scattered books, a glimmer catches your sight. A shard of radiant gold lies there, faint but unyielding, unmistakable. A fragment of the Elden Ring. The chamber of the Roundtable Hold greets you with its familiar firelit gloom. The air carries a solemn weight, as though the walls themselves have borne witness to your triumph and the shadow it casts. The faint crackle of the central hearth echoes down the hall, a reminder of the path you tread, marked always by sacrifice. Enya waits by the two fingers, their twisted forms still and ready. She tilts her head as you approach, the hooded cloak about her shoulders shifting with the movement. Her black hollow eyes regard you and her voice rasps out, heavy with age yet touched by awe. I had my doubts, but look at you. Only once before have I seen two great runes together. Look there. The fingers shudder with exuberance. Fine work, brave Tarnished. The greater will is pleased. You have earned the right to become Elden Lord. Now seek the Tree and an audience with Queen Marika to become Elden Lord and restore the Golden Order. The great two fingers twitch and tremble behind her, their spasms almost violent, as though straining to convey the greater will's unspoken commands. Their silence fills the chamber like a roar, each gesture heavy with expectation. Your hand instinctively moves to the shards now bound within you, their golden resonance stirring uneasily, as if they too feel the call of the greater will. The weight of destiny presses close. With two great runes, the path to Leyndell is no longer barred. Yet even here, in the heart of the hold, shadows stir behind the grandeur. The firelight flickers across faces, some envious, some fearful, others unreadable. All you know is that you have stepped further than most Tarnished have ever dreamed. The grace at the capital outskirts burns steadily, its light wavering in the heavy dusk. The Tarnished kneels before it, wary from battle yet still unbowed, and Melina lingers at their side, the glow gilding her pale features. She watches the flicker of the flame, as though within it she hears echoes of an older voice clinging yet to these flames. She speaks. Spoken echoes of Queen Marika linger here as well, she says softly, her tone a bridge between reverence and unease. Her gaze lingers on the Tree rising in full splendor above the capital, its branches blotting out half the sky. Shall I share them with you? The Tarnished turns to her and nods. She closes her eyes, listening to a voice that is not hers, and when she speaks again, it carries the weight of the divine. In Marika's own words, "Hear me, demigods, my children beloved. Make of thyselves that which ye desire, be it a lord, be it a god. But should ye fail to become aught at all, ye will be forsaken, amounting only to sacrifices." The words fade, swallowed by the hush of twilight. She studies the Tarnished, lit by the same grace that illuminates her path, and wonders what sort of will could endure so much and still stand before the foot of that golden tree. For long years she has drifted, without form, without memory, her purpose clouded. Yet now, with the walls of Leyndell close at hand, she feels a quiet certainty stirring in her chest. She lingers by the grace, letting its light brush her fingertips, and memory stirs, fleeting as smoke upon the wind. The heat of fire, the scent of charred wood, a vision of golden branches bathed in a glow that is not holy by any means. These fragments cling to her as if waiting to be made whole. She cannot say what they mean, nor whether they are memory or omen, but they remain with her now, more vivid than ever. And though she tells herself her path is to guide the Tarnished to the foot of the Tree, a thought lingers in the back of her mind, whether the fragmented memories of flame she carries and the destiny she now glimpses are not separate after all. From here, the foot of the Tree awaits.